Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 78 entitled Matrix, Different Reality or Different Realities. Well, this is the fourth chapter, the fourth video, despite the fact that all of them are independent. Well, as I told you, this is a very important topic. Why? Because this is the foundation of the springboard of the awakening process, which is infinite. Why? Because it is the fact, this is the apocalypse. In Greek, it means unveil. Okay, this is the revelation. The fact to understand with new eyes, actually, that everything is a question of perception and belief. Today, we're going to focus on this, perception and beliefs. Well, as I said, I love this concept that states and talk about intersubjective reality and also collective fictions. Okay, because as Kant, the philosopher, the German philosopher, say objectivity is relative, therefore subjective. So for him, objectivity doesn't exist at all. Well, as I like to say, the absolute truth is the sum of the subjective truth or relative truth. Okay, it's the same for reality. Actually, this is a Rubik's Cube. I show you one face, red, and I will see blue, and he will see yellow, and so on. So this is just a question of perception and angle of vision. Do you believe in the chair you are sit now? Okay, this is made, for example, of wood. Okay, the wood is made of cellulose. Do you believe in your chair? Do you believe in the wood? Do you believe in the cellulose? The cellulose is made of organic compounds of hydrogen, carbon, oxygen. Do you believe in hydrogen, carbon, and so on? This hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen are themselves made of elementary particles, of electrons. Do you believe in electrons? Have you ever seen an electron? Is there someone who already saw an electron? Nobody already, because it's impossible to see. But nobody doubts into it. So why do we believe in it? Because everybody believes in it and no one contests. Okay, so this is a notion of collective fictions. Well, do you know what is a mirage? A mirage, concretely, we think is just an illusion, right? Actually, it is not. It is the truth, but partially true. What is this concretely? Okay, you see here, okay, here, just in front of you, in the middle of nowhere in the desert, you see an oasis, okay, a place with water. Concretely, it's not here physically. It's just the reflection, okay, because there is droplets, some gaseous water in the sky, okay, so droplets there, and they are doing a mirror effect. And maybe the oasis, the place of water, exists, but it's here, for example. It's here, but the reflection will be there. So you have the illusion that the holograms is there. So it is the hologram. This is just the reflection. When you check a mirror and you check a face, it's not the face which is there. It's just the reflection, right? It's the same principle. So the key question is, our world wouldn't be like a mirage. You know, it's the illusion I showed you last time is this, okay? This is an illusion. Why? Because there is two things to see. You see a man or a naked woman, right? It's the same thing with that. You see a holy grail, okay, a vase, or two faces. Whatever, you cannot see both at the same time, okay? But the thing is, the reality is probably an infinite sphere of probabilities, and one state that you see now, like a sum of different pixels, is only one state among lots, influenced by the observer. And this is also what I showed you last time, is this one. It's a question of perception as well. What do you see here? Okay? Do you see a 6 or a 9? Okay, so it will be a battle for years with proselytism between the 6 and the 9. Okay, it's humoristic, but actually it's not so far from reality. So let's continue. Have you heard about the Rorschach test? The Rorschach test, concretely, what is it? You take, it's a psychological test. Concretely, you put some let's say anchor, well, anyway, and then you split up like this, okay? And then there is like a mark inside. like a design. But it doesn't mean, I mean, it doesn't represent anything. It's just a question of perception. So this is psychologic, according to your character and so on. It's exactly the same thing that pareidolia, which is the fact to analyze something in the clouds, okay? You can see, I don't know, a dancer, you can see an elephant, and so on. And according to your sensitivity, you will see different things. So, alright, so that's why I'm talking about intersubjective reality and collective fiction. Okay, so apparently everybody has his own word, his own perception, angle of vision, right? But do we agree that there are at least some constants like speed of light? Speed of light is around 300,000 kilometers per second, but we saw recently that eventually it could be, according to the gravity, different. Okay, so anyway, it's just in progress. But okay, so we agree on certain constants. Okay, a child is born through sexual acts between two persons, right? And is not coming from cabbage or storks, okay? Like the legend for kids. Yes and no. From sex, yeah, if you have artificial insemination, it's not the case. So we are not completely agree, because not everybody believe in that, right? The red lines, okay? It's red, right? Not really. I mean, it's not really, but for those, you know, the colorblind, they see magenta. Magenta is a kind of purple. So for him, it's not. The earth is round. They are, let's say, flattest, and they believe, and a lot in states, more and more, they don't believe in it. Okay, so I'm not saying I'm in favor of something. I'm just saying that this is not the unanimity. Well, cold is cold, right? No, actually, when you have a wart, okay, you burn it. Actually, it's minus 150 degrees Celsius or minus 200. So it's burning. So the coldness is burning sometimes as well. So it's not always true. The moon. Okay, the moon, as Einstein say with the discussion with Niels Bohr, I like to believe that if I close my eyes, the moon is still there. And actually, some people think that the hidden part of the moon is extraterrestrial platform or satellites. Okay, Hitler was a monster, and the Holocaust, the genocide, was just horrible. Actually, do you know that in the world, only 54% of the humanity, almost half, ignore it. Ignore Hitler, ignore Nazism, okay, and Holocaust, the genocide of Jews. So, and it's, well, in Europe, West Europe, 70 and 1/3 of the worldwide population is agree with the official version. And a lot of people, they are not sure. Some people ignore, and a lot of them, they are not sure, or they contest, basically. And so in West Europe, 77% they accept the history, and in West Europe is 55%, is 57%, and in Northern Africa and Middle East is 40%. They think is the official version, and so on and so forth. So, but the thing is really, there are a lot of people, and more is not a minority, who denied this, and they think it's just organization. They lied on the figures, even the bodies that you can see and so on. It's just like Hollywood and so on. So I invite you to think about this. So, well, we could establish a rainbow of let's say acceptability in general, like intransigence, you know, the stubborn or limited purple, ultra rigid or skeptical, then systematically questioning, the analyst, the thoughtful, or the one who are swallowing everything. Well, and is not exhaustive when I say that. So, a religious current without institution is perceived as a sect. Okay, but at first, the church, Islam, Buddhism was perceived like this as well. So, does the number makes the reality? Question mark. Not really. Yes, punctually, maybe, but not in the absolute. When you see the slavery, I told you in the previous video, the first video, that slavery, second video maybe, well, anyway, the slavery was something normal for years and years until, let's say, not slavery, but let's say the segregation in states was valid till end of 60s, in Australia 70s, and so on. So yeah, apartheid in South Africa until 90s. So anyway, but slavery was something absolutely normal for many decades and even many centuries. Faith is something personal we are born with or without, right? But on the other way around, we can consider, and I refer to the key 70, spirituality and science, love story, possible or impossible. Okay, I invite you to watch it, 4 videos. But concretely, the more you seek, the more you find. Okay, why? Because when you study astronomy, botanic, let's say biology, and the more difficult it is not to believe. Why? Because there is something, question of contingencies, and it's the let's say the coincidence has a lot of chance and are very precise in that case. Why? Because all the universe, the notion of forces and so on, the biology is a question of trying to shoot just 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter with a distance of 16 billions of light years. So coincidence have a lot of chance. So why I'm saying that is also the notion, the faith, we have it or not, but it's a parallel with love. Okay, you can have the love at first sight with someone you are attracted, this is a magnetic, this is stimuli and so on. Okay, fine. But you can also see on the other way around, you can build love with acquaintance, that you say, thing that you share with someone, with memories and so on. So this is something you have at first sight, and you can build and you can reinforce and develop and so on, and strengthen as well on the long-term run. So, faith is not necessarily a belief only, it's something natural, and also is the fruit of some research. For belief and perception, one of the good example is synchronicity. Synchronicity, to make it short, it has been given, the name has been given by Carl Jung, but the concept exists since the beginning of the ages. Concretely, is no causality between 2 events, but it does make sense for you, only for you, in your universe, Y-O-U, universe, okay? It's like the universe is talking to you, or you have the feeling, the perception is talking to you. Okay, so what would it be? I'll give you some fake example, but like, should I quit my job? And the song appear, should I stay or should I go? And then you just smile, like having like a message from the sky saying, okay, I listen to you now, or I'm gonna give you an answer. And this is apparently a true story. A guy wants to convert to a new religion, and is like with solemnity, and is asking to God, okay, I'm gonna do it, and so on. He's just reading a book, a holy book, and he's just let's say ask, okay, I'm gonna convert it, give me a last sign. And he doesn't have anything, and then okay, he stops after a few minutes, and he goes back to his book, which is stated, and if you still need signs, read on nature and admire my creations. Okay, so apparently the book at the same moment is replying to his question and not necessarily around. You see, this is the point. Or you ask yourself a question like, should I break with her? And an ad slogan for travel tour, need a break. States, need a break. and of course you have your answer. So the thing is perception, because it's not a collective reality, it's a subjective and personal reality. It does make sense only for you and only for you at this moment. So it's a question of receptivity and sensitivity. And on the extreme, because some people, they see signs everywhere, and absolutely there are no signs sometimes. Okay, I know that recently on the social media there were a trend like some people were seeing I don't know, some messages like feather on a bank, and oh, maybe it's an angel. No, maybe it's just a bird. You know, so. But the thing is, so it's completely subjective. When you watch the movie 23 with Jim Carrey, he's explaining well that, because he's seeing, let's say, messages, subtle messages everywhere, but actually is completely crazy. Well, so I'm in between. There are synchronicities, but then the risk is to like a black hole, to be absorbed by this extreme vision for which you can see signs everywhere, and you are completely disconnected from kind of collective reality. Same, we could establish a rainbow spectrum with belief, anti-religious, skeptical, blind religious, religious in consciousness, blind spirituality, spirituality in consciousness, vacuum, let's say, and those who swallow like this without any detachment. So that's why, you know, I always say that the Holy Scripture, but it's true for any text, are at the scope of the intellectual capacity and at the capacity of the heart of someone. And also it's the notion linked to a context, a spatio-temporal context, is according to an epoch, a period of time, and also a customs, let's say customs, folklore, and so on. So this is important to put into a context. You know, when I say that for Holy Scripture and any text, it's like I'm always saying the Little Prince. Okay, if you are in bad mood and you are even depressed, you will see it as a pamphlet or a book of horrors, because you have your sunglasses, you have your black glasses, and you see all the world dark. And by the way, this is in the book of in the movie Netflix, because this example I say for 15 years maybe. And in the Netflix series Messiah, actually there is a moment a kid is enrolled in for becoming a bomb attack, so he's completely brainwashed, and he has only a book, and this is the Little Prince, and the mullah arrive and took it and say this is haram, this is bad, this is bullshit. There is only one book. Okay, so for me it's a very symbolistic way, because actually this is the same for him. It's haram, it's bad, it's a sin. Little Prince. Those who read the Little Prince will understand that this is absolutely not sin. It is just beautiful with degrees of perceptions. Okay, but I can give you some example like this, and once again, this is not blasphematory. It is just to give some example of the limits of the perception of certain spirituality and religions. Okay, let's take an example. And it was a true story. I read an article. It was in March 2023, this year. And there was an article with a Saudi astronaut, okay, going to space in the sun, and saying that he will do Ramadan. So the comments were explosive, like a battle between two camps. The Muslim religious saying, "Oh, that's great," and fighting with other racists saying, "Oh, this is bullshit, you piss us off," and so on. Okay, and both they were fighting like crazy, like the religious saying, "Oh, you don't know what's the truth," and so on. You will not go to paradise. All this kind of very low level fighting, and nothing constructive at all. And I was thinking, but guys, just one detail. If it goes in in the space. How can he can do the Ramadan? The Ramadan is, there is the sunrise and the sunset. Okay, you fast from the sunrise till the sunset, but there is no sunrise sunset in the space. So how he will do? He could not do it. So it's ridiculous to fight for that. So the article was bullshit. It was a real one. It was not a fake one. And the comments were just in the trap of this, in the rabbit hole. But anyway, you know, that's why a context. The Ramadan in the north of, and there is a, in Norway, for example, in Bodo, is a city there are 50,000 people, 52,000 people, and there is a mosque. So, but there is impossible to do Ramadan. Why? Because it's so extreme in the north that during July, if the Ramadan is July, actually, if the horizon is like this, the sun is doing exactly like this and immediately like this. So there is no sunrise and sunset. I mean, just 1 second. So it means that you can even not break your fasting. Okay? When it goes like this, you even not have 1 second to drink a glass of water and immediately it goes up. What does it mean? It's impossible to do it there. So it means that it was, for this epoch, I'm not saying that it's bad if you was born in Netherlands and you do Ramadan. It's not what my point. I'm just saying that there is maybe an adaptation and a perception of the context, because in Saudi Arabia, where in Arabia, Muhammad, the Prophet, actually he was doing there. So, and the maximum is in between 6 p.m. whatever the moment of the year, 6 p.m., 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, maximum 7 p.m. Okay, so the maximum is 13 hours, 14 hours maximum, but not like extreme north of Norway or probably in Canada and so on. Okay, so this is the all limits also of the, not interpretation, but to perceive things like first sight and not with adaptation, my vision. You know, it's like, this is true story, or here in Turkey, some people have the scarf, hijab, and they put a wig over the scarf. Okay, so what's the point of doing that? This is a paradox. Okay, I observe like this. Once again, it's not a blasphemy. It's not blasphematory at all. It's just try to understand. You know, it's like in the name of Christ, the love of Christ, in the past, in many centuries, some people killed other people on behalf of love. This is a paradox. On behalf of God, I convert someone by force, but God can see it. So it's like I impose you to love me. It's impossible. So you cannot impose to someone to love someone else, or to be converted. Otherwise, it's not an adhesion. It's not true. Anyway, another paradox. I pay someone to make my pilgrim for me. Okay, so I just lay down on my sofa and he does the job for me. Okay, when the Christian message is destitution, okay, it's funny to celebrate Christmas, okay, which is supposed to be the birth of Jesus, but we saw in the key regarding Christ that it was not there because there's the solstice, the winter solstice. But anyway, a substitution of pagan celebration. But anyway, and nowadays we do it with food in abundance, and we explode. We spend so much money with, let's say, credit card, with gift and so on. So it's excess and waste, which is a paradox compared to the message of destitution, detachment, and kind of humility. Anyway, it's like when you turn off the TV just before the beginning of Shabbat. Okay, Shabbat is every Friday 5 p.m. till Saturday 5 p.m. 24 hours. You are supposed to be with your family, enjoying without any materialistic things, not electricity, but TV and so on. You are not supposed to, okay, telephone and so on. You squeeze. It's like fasting of technology, okay? So, and to be connected with the prayer, with your family and so on and so forth. But And some people, they do that. They turn off the TV just before, and then they let it like this. Like this, they can watch the the TV. Oh, I didn't do anything. I cannot touch it. You know, it's a paradox. And it's a true story. I work in a textile for Jewish community and also Muslim community. It was impossible to sell to them some pork leather jacket. And you just want to say, but you're not obliged to eat your jacket, you know. But anyway, or for Jewish, just to have let's say a jacket, you know, like a city jacket. Linen and wool is not kosher. Why? Because linen is vegetal and wool is animal. But anyway. So, food restriction, no pig for Muslim, no pig for Jewish, no beef for Hindus, and even normally there are 85% of vegetarian for Hindus. Seafood forbidden for Jews, fish forbidden for Sikhs, plants, roots forbidden for Jainists, meat for Lent, alcohol for Buddhists, and so on and so forth. So, but by the way, the paradox is halal. When you are Muslim, you can eat kasher root, okay, for Jewish sacrificed, let's say, and not on the other way around. Jewish will never eat let's say halal. Okay, so it's kind of paradox. Kosher, you have some funny one, if I can afford. When it's food like let's say animals, okay, there is a ritual taking out the blood and so on. But Coca-Cola, for example, Beth Din arrived, the Rabbi arrived and give a blessing, and then it becomes kasher root, okay, Nutella and so on, some wines. So there is a good movie, PK, it's an Indian movie, it's like an extraterrestrial, ET arriving on Earth, and he's trying to understand the different communities in India, and every time is failure, and every time is, I mean, it's kind of funny movie, but anyway, it's more to try to highlight certain limits of certain practice. Well, what is important at the end, whatever it's true or not, whatever reality or not, real or not, it's intention and intense faith. Okay, if you're convinced in something, the effect will realize. Okay, this is what Mark in the Bible states when Mark 10:52. Go, say Jesus, your faith has healed you. What does it mean? It means that it's not Jesus or is not God. It's the activation of somatic, okay, placebo. Okay, I heal myself in Latin. Okay, activating that. Who created the miracle? So, ideally, I think this is better to be in consciousness of what you're doing. And if it makes sense, okay, and in addition of that, if it's respectful, okay, but the thing is that if you are convinced 100% of something, it will works, is the thing I told you. Some doctors state that 2 glasses of red wine per day is excellent for health, health in general, and for heart, but if you are Muslim and you are convinced that this is haram, that to say it is a sin to drink alcohol, if you drink these 2 glasses of wine, it will be a nocebo. It means I destroy myself, okay, I kill myself, and you will have bad health due to that. So what is true for one is not necessarily true for according to your belief and your intention. But same, you know, when if you fast or you pray for but you don't care or you think about something else, don't do it. It's useless. It doesn't work in that case. And also, to be frank, God doesn't care because actually he has no ego. So the only thing is that you can be self-rewarded according to the fact that you think the fact you did a fasting or praying, it's good and you will have some reward. It's you give you a reward, okay? Because once again, God is in infinity, is not judging, and is just like the genie in the bottle, is just make your dream and your demand come true. I invite you to watch the video regarding God. Is I don't remember, 71 or 72. Seek and you will find. Let's continue. You know, it's the same principle than the final judgments. There is no you go to hell if you did bad things and so on. It's just a self-analysis. Your soul does a self-analysis if it's matching or not. If you think you still have something to learn and or to discharge negative things and you need to clean up and so on. Only that. And this, if you want to have some more information, watch the video regarding hereafter. It's 75 first video. Well, you know, and the principle is like, you know, the translator who is cheating for his studies. Is cheating, is a translator in French English, for example, and is on a conflict, and is supposed to do diplomacy between two countries to avoid a war, for instance. But he cheated, so he cannot speak, for example, English. So his paper, I mean, his diploma doesn't mean anything. So if he's honest, he will recognize that he's not capable, so he will renounce, he will quit his job, and he will come back to studies to learn English again. Well, you know, in New Age spirituality, you have this cliche phrase, sentence like, before the end of this week, something extraordinary will happen to you, or money will come, and say, yes, I want, okay? And everybody, like goats, yeah, they say, yeah, amen, 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 or yes, I want, yes, I want. And the thing is, we can see with a certain perspective that is a bit strange, or some people think is ridiculous. But if people are convinced about that, it becomes their reality. It's like, you know, self-conditioning. This is what we call Coué method, okay? I'm happy. Every day I'm happier and happier. Every day I'm happier. And you repeat ceaselessly like this, you activate something. And if you deeply believe in that, your subconscious soak this information and it becomes your reality. So that's why there is no truth. I mean, there is not one single truth. You know, it's the notion of law of attraction and co-realization. And if you think, oh, this is bullshit, the law of attraction, no worry. You are satisfied in it. It means that all you will ask will never happen, and it will show you what you want. Okay, so if you think it's bullshit, maybe, let's say, every time you will ask something, oh, I wish I can have that, you will never have, and you will always complaining in the fact that it is ridiculous, let's say, law, instead of, despite the fact that you don't see that this law is satisfying your rejection of it. Well, anyway, let's say, let's continue. You know, Deepak Chopra said the religion is believing in someone else's experience. Spirituality is living your own experience. So certain religious people think that spirituality is like a la carte, you know, like consumerism, like zapping. It's like, oh yeah, I created my my own religion, and there is no constraints. And some people from spirituality, they think, okay, but you adhere to religion as a block, and it's full of dust, is an experience of someone else, probably with reinterpretation, rewriting some scripture, and so on and so forth. So anyway, there is kind of different vision, perception with that. The religious people think that there is kind of an essence through the religion. It's like a foundation, like strong, because it's for long-term run. Like when you build a big building, like in Shanghai, I remember when I lived there, some big buildings, sometimes the foundation is like 60 meter under the ground. Okay, so it's anti-seismic and so on. So it could be comparable. Okay, well, anyway, the collective belief, I said, a religion is when a lot of people are there and there is institution. Otherwise, if there is a small amount, is a sect. But at the beginning, the Christianism was a sect. Were sects with a S, because there was a lot of different sects, and they were absolutely not unified. Okay, same for Buddhism. At the beginning, Siddhartha was Hindu. Okay, and he was absolutely not Buddhist. He didn't create Buddhism. Same for Jesus. Actually, he was Jew, and he say, "Don't think that I came to abolish the law of the prophets. I came not to abolish, but to fulfill." Is Matthew 5:17. Well, I hope these different keys, these different elements will help you to shape the master key of the field of consciousness, of love, or whatever you want. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to the Dome and to home. Thank you for your attention, and see you very soon.